Namaste, my dear children. My name is Lakshmi Mohanananda, a Mohanji Acharya, and I want to tell you a beautiful story. Sit comfortably and listen to a story about the kind-hearted Maha Vishnu, who is also known as the god of preservation and sustenance of the universe. Whenever the earth is facing destruction, Maha Vishnu comes to protect the earth, the people, and all the animals. This story of Maha Vishnu's Matsya avatar is an adaptation from Srimad Bhagavatam and also from Matsya Purana, which is one of the 18th major Puranas amongst the oldest and better preserved. During Satya Yuga, the age of truth and purity, a demon stole the Vedas from Lord Brahma. So, Maha Vishnu incarnated as Matsya Avatar, a powerful fish, and recovered the Vedas which contain the knowledge of creation. According to scientific evolution, aquatic life was among the first species that existed and first appeared on Earth from about 600 to 400 million years ago. We will later see, as we learn about the different incarnations of Maha Vishnu, how each incarnate relates to the scientific evolution of the modern man in our current age, which is in the age of Kali Yuga. Our story today teaches us about faith and trust in God, especially in our most difficult times. During Satya Yuga, a pious devotee of Maha Vishnu was praying in the river. This devotee loved Maha Vishnu very much. He performed penance for thousands of years just to see Maha Vishnu. Remember, this story occurred in Satya Yuga, where humans lived for thousands of years. This pious and righteous devotee was a king known as Satyavrata Muni. He was also known as Manu, which means first man or human being. As the king dipped his hands into the river water, a tiny fish appeared in the palm of his hands, and as he was about to throw the fish back into the river, the fish asked the king to please save him from being eaten by the larger fishes in the river. The king took pity on the little fish, and he wanted to save the life of the fish. So the king placed the fish into a little water pot. He then took the fish back to the palace after he completed his prayer. The fish began to grow in size throughout the night, and the king kept putting the fish into bigger and bigger vessels of water, with the hope of saving his life. To the king's astonishment, the fish still continued to grow and become bigger and bigger. Can you imagine how big the fish became? Without question, the king placed the fish in a pond in the kingdom, and still the fish continued to grow. So then the king put the fish in the river. Eventually, the enormous fish was too large to fit in the river, so the king put the fish into the ocean. The king's good nature and kind character encouraged him to save the life of that simple fish. Eventually, the king realized that the fish was none other than Maha Vishnu himself. In a flash, the enormous fish turned into Maha Vishnu himself. The king bowed down with tears in his eyes at the realization that Maha Vishnu was in front of him. Maha Vishnu, in the form of Matsya Avatar, the fish, smiled at the king and said, "You wanted to see me, so I have come to you." The king expressed that he only wished to see Maha Vishnu. The king asked, "Oh Maha Vishnu, What can a simple king as I do for you? Matsya Avatar grew a single horn on the front of his face and told the king about the end of the Yuga. Matsya Avatar explained that the world would end by a huge flood within 7 days, and he requested that the king build a boat and take the 7 sages with their families, the seeds of all the plants, a male and female of each type of animal, and the snake god Vasuki onto the boat. Matsya Avatar also said that he will return and steer the boat and its passengers safely into the next Yuga. The heavy rain started and washed everything in sight. The water levels kept rising until a flood was on the brink. The king and the passengers got onto the boat and remained strong in their faith that Maha Vishnu would protect them despite the reality of the boat wanting to capsize many times. There was thunder and lightning. The boat swayed in the middle of the raging waves, but still they remained faithful that Maha Vishnu was coming back for them. As the flood began on the 7th day, Matsya Avatar returned and instructed the king to tie Vasuki to the boat, and also to Matsya single horn. Matsya's powerful body steered the boat to the Himalayan mountains using Vasuki as a rope. The demon that stole the Vedas was hiding on the ocean floor in a conch shell, and as Matsya Avatar was taking the king and the passengers of the boat to safety, he also defeated the demon and returned the Vedas to Lord Brahma. The king and the passengers stayed in the Himalayan mountains until the water levels receded and the flood was over. Throughout the stormy seas and raging water, the boat remained stable and its passengers safe. During the voyage to the Himalayas, Matsya Avatar taught the Vedas to the king and the passengers, who then became the first inhabitants of the new world. So that brings us to the end of a beautiful story of Maha Vishnu as Matsya Avatar. The main theme of the story is complete faith, devotion, and surrender to God. No matter what is happening in our lives, whether we have good times or difficult times, if we completely trust and have faith in God, then God will always be with us, protect us, and steer us to the correct destination. There is also a theme of kindness and compassion. The king was a very kind and compassionate person. When the little fish came into the hands of the king, he didn't know that the little fish was Maha Vishnu. It was just a little fish from the river, but still the king protected the life of the little fish. The king did not expect anything from the fish. It was the nature of the king to be helpful and kind. This teaches us to see God in the hearts of every being, be it humans, birds, or animals. If we see God in all beings, we become more caring, respectful, and compassionate to all. We don't see any differences. We only see love. We only see God. Om Namo Narayana.